Cryomix Insert Coin and Complain is being brought to you by Fireclown and Commander Haggis.
Hello and welcome to our new podcast of Insert Coin and Complain. I'm Fireclown and this is Commander Haggis. How you doing, Haggis?
Hello, I'm good. Hello, indeed. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to whinging. I think we've got a lot to whinge about. People of a certain age who've been around different forms of media for a long time. I'm mainly centering around kind of like entertainment, so, whether it's gaming, films, whatever, and just that perception of things were so much better when I was a kid. And it's kind of like, were they? Were they really? I don't know if they were.
In some respects, it was, as in, like, you just needed to put a game in. Or actually, I'll rephrase that. You had to
Yeah,
get the game cartridge, blow in it, put the game in, and then it worked. But
and this
now,
is
you've got to, like, get the game downloaded, and then you've got to wait for the updates.
and this is completely off topic already
I know,
because
right?
talking about like cartridges, we didn't talk about this, but um game prices. So I was talking about this with a group of friends, and they were saying, like, oh man, AAA game price. I don't know if I can justify like £80, whatever. And I was like, I remember one of our friends getting Killer Instinct Gold, and fair enough, it was an import.
Yep.
It was more expensive
It
than
was, I
£80
think it was
in
100.
1990
I
in
think
1995.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
£120. I think you paid for that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think
Exactly.
I can't quite remember. I think it was 120
Yeah.
quid. But if you look at the import that we ended up getting for the Nintendo 64, that
Hmm.
was 1,500 without a game.
Yes.
You had to pay for the game on top of
Correct.
that, which was 150 quid, and it was Mario at the time. And
Yeah.
because it was imported, it was all in Japanese.
Good times. Good times.
It was good times. And it just makes you kind of wonder. A lot of people do complain about the game prices, and nobody's got any money, so no wonder people are complaining about game prices. But at the same time, they are cheaper than what they used to be for cartridges way back in the 90s.
Yeah. By the way, I am, yes, drinking Dr. Pepper. Other soft drinks are available. This just happens to be my one of choice because you are going to see this now and again on my stream. Yeah, I think you've got to. Do you want to buy it? Right. That like literally everything we're going to talk about in the series, everything we might even mention, if there's a monetary value attached to it, that is completely and utterly your personal choice. If you
Yeah.
think it's of the value proposition is there, just buy it and be happy.
Hmm.
That's it. But, literally that is it. And sometimes you're gonna get stung, and that's just the way it is. But don't let people make you feel bad because you spent X on whatever. It's your money. Do what you want with it. Is essentially That's how I live my life
Yeah,
anyway.
that's
And I
very true.
don't think games are particularly expensive considering the amount of entertainment that you can get out of them. I mean, if you're like, so I suppose not everyone plays games like me, but if I get into something, I'm like, yeah, I'm 100% English, and then the value just goes through the roof.
Well, you got the remake of Dead Space, and you went through that
Yeah,
whole game getting 100% in
free
that. So,
free
and I
gameplay.
did not. I love that game to bits, but I just did not go through the
Yeah,
100% version
it's
of the new one at all.
yeah the third.
The old one,
Uh-huh.
I tried to do that.
Yeah, the third playthrough to get the final achievement was not much fun. It was like one hit and you're dead. It's
Yeah.
like, God. But again, each to their own, right? I don't expect everyone to do that. And that's the thing. But I suppose let's get back on topic. So we
We're
kind of
wanting to talk
yeah,
about
on
like
you
the
go.
software and hardware of things,
Yeah, I
and
think
also
again,
possibly mix that in with a bit of AI.
yeah, I think and again, this comes from my conversation that I had recently, and I think even myself, you, and Pascal have talked about this, and it was generally around. I was at work, and there's a few people I work with, and we're kind of into computers in different ways, different things that we do with them, but we're all kind of hardware nuts. And they were saying they were super excited at the moment, and I was like, oh yeah, like the software side of things is amazing, and they were like, oh no, the hardware, and I was like, I could not care less. Like AM5, all the rest of it, I think it's great,
Oh,
but
hold on. Don't go too far ahead of yourself. You just said AM5. For the people who don't know what
yeah, yeah,
AM5
yeah,
is,
yeah,
you got to
that's true.
explain it, I'm afraid.
Um, so AMD's current platform, essentially, their current CPU socket
There we
is
go.
really, really is really, really good. It's got suppose new. It's not new now, but if you're new to this, it supports DDR5, which is the current memory standard. I'm not on that. Um, and and I said I was much more interested in what's happened to software because you're like me, Octasco's like me, and so many other my friends I know are like me, and they're on AM4, which is AMD's previous CPU socket,
Yeah.
which is purely because my machine that is 6 years old does not feel like it's aged at all.
No, I have
Like,
quite an
you
old
know,
set of chips and like things
yeah.
like that. My graphics card is like 2 years old now. That's a 4070 Ti. Is that 2 years
By
old?
my
3 years old?
3 years, yeah, my 3090 is 6 years old.
So there you go. It's
Yeah,
like
is it 6 years old? 5 years old.
thankfully I'm still running everything at pretty much max or ultra and
Yeah,
pretty much every single
yeah,
game going.
yeah. No, that's the thing. So I don't feel the hardware upgrade bug. I mean, the things I upgrade now are stupid things. Like I just a few years ago, I decided I'm gonna get back into water cooling, like custom water cooling, and so I did that. Rather than actually have to change everything in my machine, and the expense is just ridiculous. Like that's the other thing.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I didn't want to change, but we'll come on to that later. But yeah, like from a software side, I think things are really, really exciting, and it's mainly down to one company. Mainly down to Valve and the way that Valve has decided that, probably. I mean, you can trace this back to. I mean, you might remember more than me, but probably what 10 years ago when the idea of a Steam machine came about. So the
Oh yeah.
idea of you could have like a console essentially.
That was
It was
built
it
on
was, it was
Linux.
it was built on Linux, and Valve would provide third-party hardware vendors an OS, Steam OS, which probably most people, if you're in the PC space, are aware of, built on Arch Linux, and it's mainly because of them that a lot of new developments in Linux are possible. To the point where I'm doing all of this in Linux at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not on
you're
Bavrite
you're
though.
you're running
I'm
on
I've
Linux. Yeah, I'm running on
yeah.
Windows.
So I've actually got two Linux distros now. So my machine is technically triple boot between Windows, Bazzite, and CachyOS. So
Hmm.
Bazzite and CachyOS are Linux-based distributions. Um,
Yeah,
and the
I
only thing like literally the only thing that I need Windows for now is VR because I love VR.
oh yeah, yeah.
That's it. But even having said that, and again, this is directly due to Valve because they're about to drop a new VR headset, so they need native support in Linux. People like Pimax have openly kind of committed to by the end of this year they will have a Linux native driver installer. So that to me is more exciting because Windows is a piece. And I don't know if we're going to swear on this or not. I'll
No,
say Windows is terrible, so you can cut that out.
tut tut tut. I will try to beep it out when I edit
Yeah,
it.
Windows is just terrible. It's continuing to get worse. Um, and Linux is great because it's just choice. Like literally, again, like you don't have to use the distributions I'm using. Pick whichever one you want. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it. Um, and that to me is more exciting than oh look, there's a new graphics card that's come out and oh
Yeah.
my, it's only £5,000. It's like oh, okay, who's buying? Like, who are these products for? That's what I don't
They're
understand.
not for anybody who has money because nobody has money at the moment. Our economic crisis across the world, in a lot of respects, because of idiots in power, have screwed up so many people's wage systems that people don't have the money. So they
Yeah.
do. So these companies, Nvidia, AMD, whoever, are literally targeting at people who have money. They're not targeting at just the average Joe off the street. The average Joe
Hmm.
off the street is still paying 2 grand for a PC, especially at the moment with the RAM prices, and they're not getting anything as decent as what we've got now that we paid for
Hmm.
3 years ago, and that's because everything's just so expensive. And that's probably another reason why video game companies or software companies can't upgrade their software systems because nobody has the money to buy a machine that will run their software.
I think it's even worse than that, right? I don't even think it's that. um these companies are thinking about it in the terms that we're probably thinking about it, which is like how do we make we're gonna make a product for a consumer, right?
Hmm.
Because I don't even I like and then we're kind of drifting into the AI kind of part of this where it's that kind of artificial drive for compute, which probably isn't necessary, but it is the way that the market's pushing things. And I think a lot of these companies, like if you look at pretty much any memory manufacturer, and certainly Nvidia, um, I don't even think they think about consumer. I think it is the model is literally now business to business, right? I think the only companies that are thinking about vendor sort of manufacturer to consumer, so the way like people like me and you and business in a separate category are probably like CXMT, and I can't remember the other company, but these are Chinese companies
Hmm.
who are making DRAM like memory at the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah, yeah.
and the only reason they're doing it is because they're part publicly owned, so they have no choice. They have a commitment to service the local market
Yeah, yeah, of
essentially,
course.
right?
Yeah.
So they can't just do what like SK Hynix or Samsung or whoever does, like Micron, and basically just sell to the highest bidder. And a lot of these companies, they're not even. The crazy thing is, they're not even selling a physical. Like SK Hynix currently aren't selling physical products. They're essentially selling time on their fab units. So they're basically selling a promise that we will provide you X in quarter 4 of this year.
Hmm.
So they don't even know if they're going to be able to make it, right? So it's just bonkers. It blows my mind. So I don't even think we come into the like people like us come, or if you're on a console or I mean, God, not even a console, man. Where I don't have it, but like my phone or anything, any device you have
Yeah.
that has a controller or memory in it, um, these companies are not thinking about you, right? And to be honest, I don't know how long is it going to be until smart TVs are like a scarcity.
Yeah, that's
Do you know what I
true.
mean?
Well,
You start thinking about these things, you're just like, wow,
if you look at
someone's got to buy these parts.
yeah, if you look at 3D TVs, they came and kind of went quite quickly twice over.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
unfortunately, I actually like the 3D TV system, to be honest. I actually
Hmm.
had one that was absolutely brilliant. The power pack blew in it, couldn't get it fixed, unfortunately, so I lost that TV. But I actually do like the 3D TV gimmick, and it actually worked really, really well with the TV that I had. And the movies that I had were absolutely brilliant in 3D. And I will swear by this until I die. Yeah,
Mm,
Judge Dredd 3D is the
that's amazing.
is the benchmark for all 3D movies. It
Yeah.
is the best 3D movie I've ever watched in the cinema and also at home. Just amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was very, very good.
it
I
was
remember
great.
I was a total skeptic,
Yeah,
and then I watched it of yours, and I was like, oh, actually, I see the point of 3D now
yeah.
when it's done properly.
Yeah, when it's done properly, it is brilliant. When it's done crap, like I wasn't too fussed about John Carter of Mars 3D. I thought that they kind of hashed that.
Mm,
It was cheap 3D style. It was even when I watched it in the cinema in 3D, I was like, this is kind of hurting my eyes. And I do have
hmm,
it in 3D. I don't have a 3D TV at the moment, obviously, but I do have it in 3D. It's this exactly the same format.
hmm.
But if you've got something like Judge Dredd, amazing. But even Prometheus was absolutely brilliant, and also Tron
Mm.
Legacy. That those two were really really good as well. So like it was a hit and a miss for a lot of movies, but when you did get a good one, it was amazing when they actually put
Yeah,
the effort into it.
yeah, and I mean, kind of like it's difficult for us, right, to stay on topics. There's so many things that
Well, going back to
we're interested in.
what we were
I
saying
know.
was like, hardware kind of just filters
Yeah,
out quite quickly. It does, and the
it
3D did.
does.
And smart
Um,
televisions, although they're very handy at the moment, how long are they going to stay on market? Because you
yeah,
also have that issue where I think it was Samsung for a while. I could be wrong, so like, don't quote me on this. They had their camera system in their actual televisions, and people were just clicking through the terms and conditions, and one of those terms and conditions were Samsung can listen in and watch you. And it was
yeah.
like,
I mean,
oh,
there's a
but
lot of scare.
that was
Well, I
quickly
mean,
removed. That was quickly removed.
yeah, there's a lot of scary shit. I mean, data is money, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the problem, right? I mean, that's literally it. You're the data about you and your habits is more valuable than your purchases as a consumer.
Which is kind
Like
of
that
scary
over
because I'm not
over a
sure.
lifetime,
I'm not
it's
sure
more
anybody
valuable.
wants to know what my habits are.
Like Samsung does. I can guarantee there is a
Oop.
company out there who would pay money to know what like they want to you're the target demographic for whatever, and that there'll be many files on me, files on you. Everyone will
Yeah,
know
it's kind
about
of
your
creepy though,
habits.
isn't it? Because like
Yeah, but
it's literally voyeurism, right? Right. I just put it this way. Yeah, I know this is getting off topic, but can you imagine some dude sitting outside your house with a glass to like your window and kind of going, "I'm going to listen in just so I can find out what they're wanting." Like that would be illegal. That's called stalking. But when big companies do it with your information and like whatever company you want to go along that listens into your conversations, your phone company or like your Google, Amazon, or whatever that are actually tracking you and listening to you in your house. It's like, but that's okay. That's
yeah,
okay.
because
But the guy
yeah,
outside isn't okay. It's like it's
yeah, but
stalking regardless. Come on.
it's okay because you've signed signed up to the terms and conditions that you didn't read. But that's literally it, right?
Yeah.
That is literally it. That's the thing. But anyway, getting back.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, we have to rewind back to talking about Valve, and the conversation I was having about kind of hardware versus software. So I mean, I suppose like the only hardware I was really interested in was probably new Valve controller. Like
hmm
super excited about that.
Yeah, I'm on the pre-order for
Um,
that. Well,
yeah,
well,
me
it's
too.
been released, but I'm back on the
Yeah.
second pre-order for it.
Yes, exactly. Steambox, not because I want one, but just because the proof of concept is quite
I
interesting. That
wouldn't mind seeing
idea,
how it does. Yeah, I think it's
yeah,
gonna be a good one.
and Steam Frame. And I suppose take them in that order. So yeah, so we both like literally there was. I think everyone knew, right? So we knew there's no way you're gonna get one at launch, and you didn't because
No.
for some reason Valve didn't think that scalpers were gonna just buy all of them, and they did.
Scalpers are forever doing that.
I know.
Like
It
it's
amused me that
unbelievable.
they didn't put anything in place. But anyway, they didn't. So now the system of reservations. So I think it was like literally a week after that, and you were the same that we reserved it. So I got
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm on Steam just now. So and there was an update kind of message, and
Oh,
it talks about
does it say when I'm getting it?
potential. Yeah, so it talks about delivery windows, right? So my delivery window, like literally my
Oh,
delivery window
can we
for
actually check
my
this out right now?
yeah.
Oh,
The Steam controller reservation updates. If you go to the hardware tab and you look at your reservation, under your reservation, it'll have like a delivery window. And my delivery window
oh,
for
sorry
a
about that.
controller
Yes.
is 2027.
Yeah, your estimated order availability 2027.
And this and
That's hilarious.
this is the weird thing, right? So this is my main worry with Valve
C- c-
and where they're going. I mean, I'm kind of assuming that they've got plenty of inventory for the. I mean, I think Steambox. I don't know how big a seller that's going to be. Steam Frame. I would like to think they have got, if not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of
Mm,
units.
I'd like to
Because
think so.
otherwise, I mean, I would have thought they would have had tens and tens of thousands of units of the
Yeah.
controller. But the reality is, in 7 months' time, because it's 2027, guys. It's not January 2027. It's
Yeah.
2027. It's like, is my reservation still going to be active? I mean, let's face it, Valve don't really care. They're going to sell that thing they would have sold to me anyway. But from a consumer point of view, you're just like, what? It's like you just start thinking, do I
hmm
need one? Because I've got one of these,
Yeah.
you know, which works.
Yeah, I got my one over there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of
And
these,
you also have,
which works.
yeah,
you
your
know?
your 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 old Steam pad
Yeah,
will work. Your
yeah, so
Xbox pad works
yeah,
with PlayStation. Your PlayStation 4 pad works, and also
yeah,
all you have to do is get a USB-C cable,
yeah,
stick that in, and now your PlayStation 5 pad works with full compatibility with haptics.
yeah.
So,
So,
people have a good choice on what they want and what they don't want nowadays as
and
well.
I don't think anyone's gonna have FOMO over an
No,
£85 controller, right?
no.
So I think that's my main worry with all of these things. With the hardware side of things, especially I mean, you're looking at the Steam box and the Steam frame, right? The pricing's not going to be what people thought. I mean, that I still read articles where they're talking about, Steam frame, it's going to be targeted at like 700, like 600, 700 USD. I was like, no, not a chance.
No, it's going to be
Not a
a lot
chance.
more.
It's got, and it's not because it has very interesting lenses in it, but the lens is not driving the cost, right? So the cost is being driven by the fact this thing's got memory in it, it's got a controller
Yeah,
in it,
yeah.
it's got storage in it, it's got a Snapdragon chip in it,
Hmm.
all of which has increased. I mean, DRAM prices, just to put it into perspective, the DRAM spot price, so the price if you go onto a market that day, just what is it at that point, is 450% higher than it was 8 months ago when Valve was in the final stages of developing these things, right?
Yeah.
So when they were flying everyone out to America to go come and play with our new stuff, like if you follow tech, DRAM pricing was pretty normal. That's where it was starting to increase, and now it's just bonkers. So there is no way it's going to be that price. Like there is no way the Steam box is going to be whatever it was people were talking about, and it was high, right? So back when people were thinking about what could the price of the Steam box be, like people were talking $1,000, which
Hmm.
is high. It's going to be more than that,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
you've got to think like
Was
how
it?
does that stack up against where the next generation of PS is going to be, and if and I was going to say Xbox, but if there'll be a next
Yeah,
generation of
there is.
Xbox,
There'll be a next
have they
generation of Xbox.
committed to that?
They've
Have they
committed to it.
committed
Yeah,
to it?
they've
All right,
committed to it. They've actually
because I know they
stated
were like up
they
and down with that.
the Xbox company, right? So there's a big, massive like thing going on with Xbox at the moment. Obviously, they've got a new CEO, yeah,
Yeah.
and the CEO is changing a whole load of things, including
Hmm.
bringing back exclusives to the consoles. They
Yeah.
literally at their like their last event convention thing, they had or state of play, whatever they call it nowadays.
Hmm.
It's all whatever name. They gave all the people, not the journalists, all the people who attended, who were just the average person like you and me. They gave everybody a new console and a
Hmm.
limited edition console, which was really cool of them. That's the type of thing I like to see from Xbox. They used to do that at E3 all the time, and then they cut it out completely, and then they kind of got Phil Spencer in, and Phil Spencer, in my opinion, I know a lot of people will disagree, ruined Xbox, completely ruined Xbox. Yeah, he made it to the point where what was the point of buying a console? What was the point of buying an Xbox console whatsoever?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you could buy a crappy PC for the same price as Xbox console and still run the games. There was no reason to actually have the Xbox console. She's trying to bring that back to actually have a console war. And in my opinion, I know that a lot of people will disagree with me again. The console war is actually something that needs to happen to keep prices down
Hmm.
and also to stop other console companies like PlayStation or Sony, whatever you want to call them, from putting their prices so high that people just can't afford it or it's ridiculous price. Where they started doing that because, to be honest, Xbox just weren't selling enough because people weren't buying Xbox.
I
Yeah,
think
but they're
I
bringing
think
out
that
they are bringing out a new one, and apparently it's going to be
I
end of next year.
I think yeah, but I think like blah blah. I'm just searching actually because I like I don't really follow this guys. I'm not like I said. The last time I bought a console was to play Red Dead. I
Yeah.
bought a PS4, and then I played nothing else on it. Basically, I didn't want to wait a year. So yeah, I'm just reading through this just now. Windows 11 potentially, blah blah blah. Oh, so it's basically just going to be a PC. All right, cool.
Well, it's already basically a
Um,
PC anyway. The Xbox consoles
yeah,
are
but they're not. They're
PCs.
not. They're going to put their kind of. It doesn't look like from this they're going to put their proprietary OS on,
No,
which would be
see,
good.
this is the thing that it's a rumor. It is a rumor
Yeah.
that Microsoft might actually end up selling the whole Xbox company.
Well, I saw. That was going to be my next question to you. Is like how realistic do you think it is that they spin Xbox off? Like
I think
maybe
it.
not sell it, but they divest it into a separate
I think they might actually do that.
business.
I think they might do that. They might have a Microsoft link, but I
Yeah.
think it would be wise for Xbox to separate from Microsoft. I do actually think that. Xbox should be about gaming. It should not be
Mm-hmm.
about, hey, look at the software we can put in our console, and then you can connect your console up to your TV system, and then you can watch your TV through your console. That's
Hmm.
not a line I ever want to hear in consoles. What I want to hear is, this is the game that we're bringing out. This is going to be exclusive. This is a game that's going to be exclusive. This is a game that's going to be exclusive. And this is the reason why you want to buy our machine. Yeah. Unfortunately, again, Halo, although I've enjoyed Halo in the past and things like that, the storyline and also the gameplay went downhill quite badly because of 343 Industries. I think that's what they're called. Um, I just don't think Halo 4 or 5 Infinite were that great. Maybe they can come back with a new Halo. That'd be great. I'd love to
Okay.
see that. Yeah, I would like to see that because I do actually think the Halo franchise is reasonably good. Um, then you've got the Forza franchise, but again, the Forza franchise has been put onto the PC, the PlayStation, and everything.
And frankly, it's better on PC.
Yeah, it is
It
better
just
on
like
PC.
there's
It
no
just
getting
looks so
around it.
much better.
It's like when they moved to PC,
Yeah,
like the Forza the Forza user base just exploded.
but that's the problem with the Xbox,
Yeah.
and that's the problem with Phil Spencer. He was like, let's port everything. Oh, wait a minute, let's not port everything. Let's just make everything for the PC and then port it to Xbox. So no company, even their own developers, were making a game for the console. They were
Mm.
making the game for the PC, which was getting ported to the console. And so therefore, when it got onto the console, people were like,
I
well,
think
this is just a bit crap. It doesn't even run properly. For example, Starfield is a great example. It didn't run
it's a
properly on the
terrible game.
Xbox. It didn't run properly on
It,
the PC either at the
it's just
time. But
Starfield is an example of how Bethesda have just stopped caring.
yeah, and
I
that's in
think
that again.
um
That's in my opinion. Again, that's another thing to do with Phil Spencer because he wasn't like, we want to make Xbox amazing. He didn't do that. He just was like, we want to make Xbox money,
I think
and that's a
yeah,
big difference. And
I think
gamers want to buy a game
you
that
could
is good.
you could see that though with Xbox One, right? The whole point of it is like one device in your house.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I was just reading about Xbox. So yeah, 100% they're like, yes, we're behind the next generation of hardware.
Yep.
They mention AMD building a custom silicon chip, but there's not really that much kind of hard, like 2027 is mentioned,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think is like brave,
I think it might be end of
considering
2027.
the pricing and how they're gonna struggle to source parts, right? And then, but looking at Sony,
Yeah.
this is more believable for me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Not believable, but this is more achievable. So Sony are like late 2027
hmm
through 2029 is the launch window, so they're not sure when.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I've
and
even
then
I even read today it was 2030. They were saying.
yeah, but
Uh,
they're mentioning hardware, so they're
yeah.
mentioning like targeting Zen 6. So sorry, if you don't know what that is, AMD will be launching a new CPU architecture called Zen 6. Probably the mid to end of next year, I would have thought is when it'll launch. So they'll be testing it just now,
Yeah.
taping it out at TSMC. But they're mentioning that they're mentioning RDNA 5 graphics. That's just an architecture for AMD's graphics cards, guys. They talk about the experience they want, and all of this is like, yeah, okay, now that sounds more like a company who's thought about this is where we're going.
Yeah.
Whereas Xbox, everything I've read about Xbox at the moment, it seems like their new CEO is firefighting all the time,
Yeah, she
and
totally is. I
I
quite
think I
agree.
think they're
I
100. I think they're 100% committed to hardware.
I
I don't
think
think they're anywhere near as planned as Sony is.
no, I think that the new person who's the CEO, I can't remember what her name is. That's terrible. Really sorry about that. Um, I think she is firefighting, as you said, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think she's actually doing a great job at firefighting. And you know me, I'm
Yeah.
not a big, massive like Xbox fan. I used to be like a quite a big Xbox fan before Phil Spencer came along, and then he trashed the whole thing, in my opinion.
Mm.
But she's actually doing a really good job. And I know a lot of people don't like exclusives, and I know that you don't like
Mm.
exclusives either in a lot of respect. But I think exclusives drive an industry into a war, whereas if you've got PlayStation and Sony fighting against each other and they have exclusives on either of their machines, you have to buy their machine and you have to buy their game, yeah, to actually play it on their machine. Now, that makes a war and that drives costs down for us, the consumer.
I see. This is interesting. I think the era of a reasonably priced device is gone. So
I,
I think the next generation Xbox and PS6 is like $1,000.
I quite agree, but
Just
if you think of it, we were
hardware
going
cost.
going right the way back to our
Yeah.
initial conversation. How much did we pay for the N64 originally when we got it from Japan?
Yeah, that's an
It was
import.
a
So
grand and a
that's like
half,
kind of yeah.
but it
That's
was still
like
a grand and a half that we paid for it. And
I
so
mean,
that, and
how much was it? How
when
much was it in the domestic market? I can't
seven
remember how
hundred
much.
pounds in domestic market when it was originally released.
Trying to think. That sounds about right,
So
actually.
if you think about it,
Yeah.
£1,000 for a console, although I don't want to pay that much, I don't want to pay that
Yeah.
much for a console. I'm going to be flat out that. But 700 quid back in 1996, 1995, yeah, or 94
Mm.
was it? I can't remember now. Compared to £1,000 now, you're talking 30 years on now. It should actually be
Well,
technically more expensive.
let's. Well, let's find out. It's very easy to find out.
So, just to put it in that perspective as well, as we're talking about the games earlier, 120 quid for Killer Instinct back in 1995, and now we're complaining about a game costing 100 quid that, is probably got a lot more content than Killer Instinct does.
Yeah. 1 minute. I'll tell you right now. So I'm a total nerd. I can't. This is what I do
Yeah,
for a
we're
living.
all nerds. Everybody who's listening is probably a nerd as well, or geek, or whatever you want to call him.
700. Right. So okay. So if you paid £700 for something in 1995 today, just inflation, nothing else, just
Yeah, yeah,
inflation,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
sure.
1,480.
There you go.
So
If
I
you,
don't know. It's probably slightly less in the States because they haven't had
yeah, of course.
as many inflationary shocks as we have had in Europe. They've had some, but
Yeah.
it's not quite as bad. But I mean, you're still talking in that order, at 2 times basically.
So
So maybe it's not actually. I think what the real problem they'll have though is like I think I'm right. I think it's going to be like $1,000, £1,000.
yeah, I
The
agree.
problem they've had is that these companies have been willing to sell hardware, if not maybe not at a loss all the time, at a loss at the start
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
market share, and then they'll break even, right?
yeah,
As the number of units sold goes up, then they
yeah.
get closer to the break even point.
So
And Valve just haven't been willing to do that, and they said that
yeah,
at the
yeah,
get-go.
that's right.
But
But
now their pricing's going to be even higher.
Valve's
You
very
know,
different though, because although they make money off of obviously all the video game sales,
yeah.
um, PlayStation and Xbox, and even when it was Sega, Nintendo, things like that, they always took a loss on their hardware because they knew that they were going to make a mint on their actual game sales. And Xbox haven't been able to do that because they don't have the exclusives because they gave them to everybody else. So they weren't making a mint on their game sales because when they did go into the other consoles, nobody really bought them. Like they say that, oh, Forza sold really well on the PlayStation, but it didn't really. Oh,
I don't
Halo's
even.
going to be selling really, really so much ridiculous prices, on the PlayStation. It's like, no, it's not. And even Starfield, when that got released on the PlayStation, it did not sell well. Yeah.
I think because I don't even think it's the fact that sale yeah, like I don't even think it's the fact that it's a bad port or any of these things. I think it's literally just they're not very good games. Like Starfield is just not a very good
but
game,
but
right?
isn't
It's
that
like
the fault
we've
because they didn't put the effort into building it? Because they
no,
were just
but
like,
no,
we're
no,
just going to
exactly.
chuck it
So I
out.
don't. I agree. I don't. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it's because these games weren't exclusive to that. I think if those games had been exclusive to the Xbox platform,
Yeah.
they would still have failed. They would have been a bigger
I
failure
I don't think
than
so.
if they hadn't. I think they would have been because
See,
they're terrible.
I think no, I think that they
Playing
wouldn't have been a
playing
bigger.
Forza, playing Forza on the Xbox is a terrible
No,
experience.
no, that's what I'm saying. If they'd actually dedicated the game to the Xbox like they used to, it wouldn't be a terrible experience because Forza was
Oh,
actually
I
one
think
of the
it would have
best
been.
games
Right.
on
We're
the
talking about
Xbox.
two different things, right?
Okay.
So I'm saying if it had been an exclusive and I don't think their development mindset would have changed. So I think that what was released across the space
Yeah.
would have been released on Xbox,
Hmm.
but as an exclusive, and that was a terrible experience. You're saying, so you're talking about when Xbox had a different developer mindset,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I don't think they've had that for a very, very, very
Oh no,
long time.
I
I
agree
mean,
with
you're
you on that.
talking
Yeah, yeah.
you're talking about Skyrim, kind of back
No,
fault like
I agree with you.
Fallout 4.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
But I think that mindset changed
I think that because
probably
they wanted money and they just wanted to
20.
chuck games out at people.
I mean, it's hard to say when it changed, right? Because you go back to sort of Skyrim and things like that, Fallout 4, um, and there's a big gap, right,
Yeah.
between those kind of what you would call sort of, I don't know, like they're pivotal titles. Like it's kind of like Half-Life, it's kind of like Doom in the PC space. Like they define genres,
Yeah.
but there's a big gap between them and then probably the next thing, which would be Red Dead. I would have thought.
Mm.
You know, there's a big gap in development, and somewhere in that, the mindset changed. It
See,
changed from
I'm going to try to make a point on that mindset change, okay? So
yeah.
if I remember, I could be wrong about this. Phil Spencer took over Xbox when it was still the 360, the end of the life of the 360 or close to it. And close to the end of the life of 360, I don't think Phil Spencer had quite taken over, but he was taking over. It was already kind of in the pipeline. Fable 3 was released.
Oh,
Yeah?
great game.
No, it was absolutely terrible.
I loved Fable
Fable
3.
Fable 2 was amazing. Fable was amazing. Fable 3 didn't actually have an end to the story. So when you actually completed the game, the actual main protagonist in the game didn't have an end. Yeah, it was just
Mhm.
called basically the Shadow. And it didn't have an end because it was told to the developer at the time, which is a
Oh,
Microsoft developer at the time, you're not supposed to be making an end to this because we want Fable 4. Yeah. And Peter Molyneux, who was actually the guy who was running the development team at the moment at that time, didn't even know that was a thing. He got cut out completely. Yeah.
mm.
And so therefore, and apparently he got cut out by the team that Phil Spencer was leading at the time because they wanted to make more money off of this. And when he got quizzed in at E3, oh, what's Fable 3 about? What's it going to be? Blah blah blah, so on, so on, so on. And he was describing all these amazing, cool things you could do in the game. None of it was there. Not one little bit of it was there, and he didn't even know that because the development team was told to take it out by Microsoft and the Xbox teams. He didn't even understand that. So when it comes to people like Phil Spencer basically saying we want to monetize all of this, yeah, so we can make money off of something, the development of a game just disappears. And I will give you a good prime example of Electronic Arts doing that to so many game companies that they've bought, like Visceral Games, when they basically shut them down, saying that they didn't need them anymore. They made Dead Space. Dead Space is one of the most beloved horror franchises ever, but they shut them down because they wanted the money. They wanted to, like, the CEOs basically were like, hey, we want the money. Let's just shut them down so we can actually take
Mm.
a cut of it. The whole development system goes when you put monetary values on things. But if you make an amazing game, and I'll give Grand Theft Auto as a great example, if you make an amazing game, everybody wants to buy it. Everybody wants that freaking game. Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably going to be one of the biggest selling games this year in November, regardless of what anybody says. It's going to be a massive game, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and
like
they're
yeah, it will be. I mean, I'm not gonna buy it because I'm not interested, but I recognize that it's gonna be like, yeah,
yeah,
don't release anything in November
yeah,
if
oh
no
yeah,
one's
yeah,
gonna be
totally.
interested. Do you know what I
So
mean? That's
they're
it.
going to have that game
Um,
releasing, and they'll have all the money poured into it. But you
yeah.
don't have greedy. Well, you do have greedy people in Rockstar anyway, but you don't have the greediest people just wanting money and trying to
I think
monetize everything.
I think it's difficult. I was just looking it up there. Yeah, I forgot Phil Spencer came in after Xbox One launch because I remember watching the Xbox One
Yeah,
launch
yeah, I remember
thinking,
that too.
this is dead in the water already.
It was completely dead. As soon as they
It's
started trying
like
to put DRM in it, it was ridiculous.
and Sony were amazing because
Yeah.
they had their keynote afterwards, and they were like, "This is how you share games on
Yeah.
PS4,"
Actually,
and they just hand a disc over, and I'm
that
like, "Oh my god, they've just sold twice as many
that was
units
3 years ago,
without
3 days ago,
yeah,
15 years ago or something they did that.
2014.
2014,
No,
okay, there you go.
2020. Not 2014. 2014 is when Phil Spencer took over
Yeah.
Xbox. And then 2017 he moved into the vice president role gaming,
There you go.
lines up with when things start to change, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
2022 he became CEO of gaming,
Hmm.
Microsoft Gaming, and that's when they acquired Activision Blizzard, which I think was a
That was
mistake.
one of the biggest mistakes that
Um,
they ever did. That was silly, and I don't think
yeah,
it's given them the money that they expected.
no, I don't think it will.
Like
I think
Call of Duty is always going to be popular. It's not my type of game. I will
yeah,
say I'm not a big fan of Call of Duty. Never have been since when it first came out. Or what was the other one? The Call of Duty Medal of Honor, the other franchise that was very
Me-
Call of Duty. I
Medal
just
of Honor was amazing back in the day.
I
It
just
was.
was never a
They
massive
ruined
fan of
it.
them. Yeah, they did ruin them
Uh,
quite a lot. But I was more of an Unreal game or a Quake gamer or something like that. I wasn't like
mhm.
realistic gamer. Um, but yeah, the when they bought them over, I was like, that's probably not going to end very well for them. It's like when they bought Bethesda. I thought as soon as they bought Bethesda, I was like, well, bye bye Bethesda. They might be
Yeah.
keep on going because they want to make good games and people want them to make good games. But I was like, bye
Yes.
bye Bethesda as a gaming company that actually made games that they wanted to make. Like Elder Scrolls 6 was announced 8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years
I mean,
ago.
I don't have like I'll be honest, as somebody who works or has worked in the corporate world. Well, I've worked on both sides. So I've worked in startups, medium-sized businesses, and like corporate, global-sized businesses, and working in working in a corporate environment, and then having been through a takeover and all the rest of it. It's like yeah, like there's no denying it. There is a palpable change. I imagine this is probably what happened at Bethesda and all these other companies is they're purchased for a year or whatever. That there's always a clause in your contract that says we
Yeah.
won't change anything. And as soon, literally, my experience has always been as soon as that time is up, it's like, yeah, we're gonna fire these people. We're gonna get, because it is literally about extraction of value for the new owner, and it's hard to keep, especially if the people who have purchased you don't share that initial vision, like,
Yeah.
which is mainly why I think Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard was a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Like, just was because they don't like these people do not share the vision that that company has for their product or for their group of products. They want they want that acquisition because it gives them the largest possible player base or essentially revenue stream, right?
Hmm.
They just want access to as many revenue streams as possible, which I
Yeah.
understand, but it doesn't always work out that well. And I mean, and again, this takes us round to something else we were talking about earlier, off stream, guys. Was does anyone play AAA games anymore?
Yeah.
I don't
That,
buy
that,
AAA titles anymore. I'm
that's
like I
that's a big
cannot
thing.
remember the last one I purchased.
I
But tell a lie, I can. Black Ops, the original Black Ops, I remember queuing outside a game and
really.
getting at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's it. I cannot remember the last AAA title I've bought.
So
Maybe. Oh, what was Battlefield One, the World
oh
War
yeah.
One Battlefield. That's the last one I purchased.
I think the
That,
last AAA game that I bought on release, that is, on
mm,
release, that would probably be in Final Fantasy Remake.
mhm.
Um, and I wanted that so badly because I really wanted to play that, and I completed that. I played that like 2 or 3 times through. I'm actually replaying Rebirth at the moment, so that's the only
Mm.
reason why I kind of have that stuck in my head.
Yeah.
But as a AAA title that I have bought on release, I think that was the only one. I can't even say Starfield was bought on release. Although I got it on release day, I didn't buy that. I was gifted that.
I mean,
So
Is Starfield really considered AAA?
Well, it's a
Triple A
triple E.
what?
It's a triple E development. It's not a triple E game, in my
Yeah,
opinion. It's like, for
yeah.
example, Skull and Bones was a triple A, or should I say, according to the CEO, a quadruple A game. It really is not. It's not even an A
No.
game. It's so bad. That game is just unbelievably bad. And I love pirates. I was so hopeful for that game, and it was just
Yeah.
bad. So
So
when you're
if you wanna play a good pirate game, play Windrose.
yeah, I was
It's
going to
like
say,
it's so good.
if you're looking at triple E games to independent games, pretty much most independent companies nowadays have a better way of building and creating a game. Windrose is amazing, absolutely
Mhm.
fantastic. If you look at something like Paralives compared to The Sims, although Paralives does not have everything that The Sims has just now because it's literally just been released on early access, Paralives is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was so happy that the people at The Sims, yeah, actually said, Congratulations on your launch. I hope it does really well. I was so
I,
happy that they did that.
that
That was
surprises
amazing.
me a lot.
That amazed me when I read that.
Like,
I was like,
yeah.
"That's brilliant!" And when you've got a competitor game going on like that, and you've got good competition, as I keep on
Mhm.
saying, it's good to have competition because now The Sims, like my partner, she loves The Sims to death. Like that's her game. She was delighted when she got Paralives, but she's like, maybe this will actually make the people at The Sims put in some extra points into the game to actually make it better and better and better as it goes on. Um,
No.
you're saying
No,
no,
they
but
won't. They won't
I
because they'll
think
be
it
like,
will.
well, why would you? Or I can't. I'm not gonna say what I do for a living, but
Well,
like I work in manufacturing. Right? I work in R&D, and I can guarantee if we had a choice of we can add this feature because people will really like it versus we can just like unless we can monetize that, it's not gonna happen. Or unless we're forced to do it by a regulator,
no,
it's
no,
not gonna happen.
I totally get that, but I'm in hope that like The Sims 4 was absolutely trash when it came out, the original, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you've got all the expansions, it's actually pretty awesome to play. However, all the expansions nearly cost $1,000. It's like,
Yeah, exactly,
wow,
right.
that's a lot of money,
So
and
they'll do it if they think there's a
oh
revenue
yeah,
stream.
yeah, they will.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people will be saying, "What about The Sims 5?" It's like they're not going to bring out The Sims 5 while they have The Sims 4, and they're
No.
making a lot of money from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
That's
true. That's completely true. But she was saying that this will actually help The Sims 4 having a game like Paralives because maybe people at Sims 4 will actually put in more time, more effort into new different types of game mechanics and techniques. And they do that. They have done that in the past in The Sims 4. They've actually got a lot of good things that they've actually added to the game, which makes it really interesting. It's just like all DLC costs a lot of money.
yeah, you guys are way more optimistic than I
I'm
I
always
would
trying to be
say.
optimistic about games, but I am always one of these people that loves my independent game companies and independent games as well. I really, really love my independent games, and
Oh my god.
what's this?
Sorry. I would
Is it
I didn't
breaking
mean to
news?
interrupt. Well, you know, I was just on Steam because obviously I was looking up the stupid Steam controller delivery window for
hmm
us when we were talking about that a wee while ago, and it just popped up. I was like, oh, Assassin's Creed Black Flag resynced. I was like, oh,
Oh
nice
yeah,
one, remastered. Da 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 da. 50 quid.
yeah.
I'm
It's
just
no,
like, are you
no,
serious? 50
no.
quid. I'll just
Again,
play Windrose.
this is like a AAA company, Ubisoft, trying to take the proverbial
Yeah,
pee out of things because I have Black Flag on the PlayStation 3, I have it on the
I've got Black
Xbox
Flag. Yeah,
360, I have it for the One, I also have it for the PlayStation 4. And to
yeah.
buy a resynced version for the PlayStation 5 or the PC or something, I think I ordered for the PC as well, actually. But to buy it again, it's like, yes, it's got more content in it, it's got better game mechanics in it and everything, but I don't think I'm going to purchase it at 50 quid, or I think it's
No.
60 quid on consoles for the deluxe version. It's like,
Oh my god,
that's
that's
just too
crazy.
much money. And you're going to disagree with me on this. I know you are because I know that you bought it. Dead
What
Space, the remake when it came out, you bought
amazing
that.
game.
That was 50
Amazing
quid
game.
though, but you still paid for that. It's
Yeah,
the same
but
thing as
that's
buying it, buying
that
Assassin's
that
Creed. It's the same
no
thing.
that
It's the
it's
same
not
thing.
it's not the same thing because Dead Space is Dead Space is a genre-defining game.
Okay. Well, actually, I think that Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was genre defining.
I don't know.
That is the best Assassin's Creed game
I
in
wouldn't.
that style and series. It was amazing. Flying around, well, flying, boating around, sailing around on all those ships, singing all your sea shanties.
I can't believe it's still only single player. They've not added co-op. Well, that's quite interesting.
No, there's no co-op in that one. No, no.
Looks good. I
I'm
mean,
quite
I
surprised.
will be fair. It looks
It looks great.
very nice.
And
It looks very nice.
if I had the money spare, I'd probably buy it. You know that? But I don't have the money spare. I'm barely like buying food at the moment.
I wouldn't buy it. If it was co-op mode, I would buy it. That
That'd be a
for
lot
me
of
would
fun.
be like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, this is interesting.
I don't understand why they've not done that yet.
I
know
wonder
that
how much.
the one of the best co-op ones that they actually had was Assassin's Creed. Oh, what was the one that was set in Paris? I can't remember what it's called now. The one that was
I
set,
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
the French one. That was actually,
Yeah.
it got a lot of hate. Not a lot of people liked that game. The game mechanics were a bit funky, but the multiplayer in it was actually quite smart because you got to go around doing like assassin missions together and things. That was kind of cool. But
Mhm.
again, it wasn't really implemented the best way. They could have done so much better with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Typical. I would actually say that for Assassin's Creed, that was a big downfall for them because they just didn't implement things properly. And I'm a big, massive Assassin's Creed fan. You know, I've got all the collector's editions.
Oh my god, do I know something worse?
What's that?
Do I know how much Dead Space was when I bought it, the remake?
I'm gonna say $59.99.
Yeah, because I bought the deluxe
Yeah,
edition.
see, I told you.
Yeah.
You know, like it just depends on
But
what the
for
game is.
me,
Depends if you're willing to buy it or not.
for me, it's just like it's just such a good like, and the remake is so well done.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't lost any of that original feel.
No, it's actually a brilliant game. I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's
I don't
great.
know. I don't know.
I
I
was
just think
gutted when they got canned for the second one. So dumb.
that surprised me because like things like that. I mean, there's development time, right? I get it. You have to move it to an updated engine, all the rest of it. I know it's not a 10-minute job. There's actual development that needs to be done. I understand that, but you know, when you think about it, you've got the story laid out, you've got all these things here. You know, yeah, you might have to design new assets, but you have the original ones to work from.
Yeah.
I just think it's just a license to print money. Like I would have I would have bought it. I would like
Mhm.
literally knowing this now, I'd be like, yeah, I would have paid 60 quid.
Yeah. And
You know, I just would
if they had
take
implemented
my money.
the multiplayer in it or something like that again, that would have been
Yeah.
great. And if they'd done Dead Space 3
Uh-huh.
remake, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And if they'd actually done Dead Space 4, which I'm always in hope that they'll get a Dead Space 4, but it's just I don't think it's going to happen, sadly.
Yeah, I think it looks more and more doubtful as time passes. But talking about remakes, Night Dive are remaking the original Thief.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I saw that.
That
Yeah.
looks so cool.
I thought that was pretty
but-
cool. Yeah,
How did what? Oh yeah, AAA games. I'm kind of like, yeah, I would struggle to kind of you know, outside of like Call of Duty stuff like that, I would struggle to actually, if someone asked me, is X a triple like Starfield? If someone said, is this a AAA game? I'd be like, no, it's not.
I wouldn't have said it was.
It probably is. Like, it probably is defined as that, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't have said that.
Like GTA 6, 100%.
That'll
AAA
be
title.
the biggest seller of the year, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you class something like Star Citizen as a AAA game?
No, it's not game. It's I mean, it's still an alpha.
Okay, so I'll rephrase that. I'll change what my question is.
All right. Okay.
Squadron 42 is getting released in November.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll be classed as a AAA game?
No.
What will you class it as?
I think it will be if it lives up to the hype
Yeah.
for the past over a decade, which is mad to think about.
Well, if you think about it, Grand Theft Auto's been in the same development time.
Yeah, I get it. I
So-
get that. I understand that, but they have a history of like delivering, and
Well-
CIG didn't.
Well,
So I think
Grand Theft
if
Auto
it-
was supposed to be released 2 years ago.
No, I know, but like in general, that franchise
Yeah,
has a history of actually
I'm
delivering
just playing
very good
devil's advocate.
products.
Don't worry.
Yeah, and that's the problem CIG have. So I don't think it is. I don't think Star Citizen will be a AAA title. I think what they will be at launch, if they live up to the hype, and more importantly, they have the continued developer maintenance. They will
Mhm.
be genre-defining experiences. That's
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 truly what
very
I think
true.
they will
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think
Okay,
I
yeah.
think that's what they will be in. Like Squadron 42 especially, if it launches on time and it has a good launch that isn't riddled with bugs,
Yeah.
I think in 10 years time people will look back at that game and be like, yes, it took a long time to develop, but this has set the bar for how these games are designed now.
So
This is the
I'm gonna
that is the expectation.
I'm gonna throw a spanner in the works a little bit because I'm interested
Uh-huh.
in to know what you think. You've seen or played Destiny.
Yes.
So obviously Destiny 2's out, and actually
Yeah.
Destiny 2's getting shut down pretty much. They're not doing any more
I
development
read that,
apparently.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was quite
I'm
surprised.
actually surprised. But I'm not happy about it, but I am happy about it because I was able to pick up the last 2 expansions for 20 quid, so I
Yeah,
can actually play them
no,
because
fair enough.
I wasn't going to pay 50 quid each for those. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Anyway, the original Destiny, the very first
Mhm.
Destiny, that was released
Mhm.
in 2011.
Yeah.
Okay, that's been in development since 1994
Yeah.
by Bungie. So that's a that's a good 17 years.
Well,
That was in
like I
development.
said, I don't have an issue with development times being long,
Yeah.
but the outcome of that development has to be exceptional.
So the
I've no,
development,
I've no, I've got no problem with Star Citizen
yeah.
being in the current state it is. Like I'll happily put my hands up, guys. I have spent in excess of like
So many hours
£1,000.
and so many hours.
Like and so many hours, and I don't mind because I don't mind alphas. I quite like messing around with these things,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I do as well.
you get good builds, you get bad builds,
Yeah.
mechanics change, and if you enjoy being part of that process, then that's fine. I know it's not for everyone, so that's not my issue with Star Citizen, and neither is the amount of money they've raised. My issue is the longer it takes, the less I feel like they're actually going to get there. Like maybe not so much with Star Citizen, but with Squadron 42.
Yeah. Squadron 42 is supposed to be released
If it
on
if it
in
comes out
November. It's supposed
if
to
it
be
comes out
released in
in
November.
November,
It's supposed to
I
be.
will be super duper happy because
And
we'll be playing it,
they've
right? We
said
own it.
that 2 years after 2 years after Squadron 42 is released, Star
Hmm.
Citizen will go into 1.0. That's what they've
Which
said.
is fine. Which is absolutely fine. I think
I'll be interested
Squadron
to see if it happens,
42
obviously.
Squadron 42 definitely has to launch this year
It has
for
to. If it doesn't
people to stay interested.
if it doesn't launch this year,
Um,
I think CIG are going to get slammed by every
yeah,
single outlet because
and I think quite rightly so.
yeah,
It's a standalone game, right? I understand that every time they make a technology leap in Star Citizen and Star Engine now, as it's called,
yeah, that's right, yeah, because it's their own engine now, yeah.
they 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 build that
hmm
into
Oh,
42, so there's a lot of retrospective work they have to do. But
yeah.
I mean, essentially, they have to pick a line in the sand and say like, that's it. This is 1.0 shipping,
I think
and commit to just we will update things going forward, because
yeah.
obviously they're gonna expand it, right? The story
So
they release currently is not going to be what it looks like in 3-4 years.
yeah. So they've right, so CitizenCon last year, there's no CitizenCon
Hmm.
this year, by the way. That's why I reckon that it will be completely released this
Well, it
year
makes
because
sense.
they're doing the big
They're going to be
crunch.
busy.
They're
Yeah.
going to be really doing this massive crunch at the moment.
Yeah.
So CitizenCon last year, they did draw a line in the sand, hard line in the sand, and I think most people were quite happy with it because in the original Star Citizen, they said that they wanted to have 100 systems in it, and they wanted everybody to be able to get there connected,
Hmm.
fly through dark space, blah blah blah, so on and so on.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that they completely changed the game from what it was, which was
Yes.
more like Freelancer, the game,
Yeah.
yeah, to what it is now, which is a massive, massive,
Yeah.
completely massive different game.
Yeah.
So they've drawn the line in the sand and said that they're
Yeah.
going to have 5 systems in it rather than 100 to begin with. On release
Yeah.
date, there'll be 5 systems. But if you think about it, yeah, like if you've got a small ship, which you'll start off in, everybody will start off with a small ship regardless, because they will have to get money to run their bigger ships. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, even like a medium ship, maybe you'll be able to start off with a medium ship. But if you've got a medium ship, that still takes you, if you don't upgrade your quantum drive, half an hour just to get across that system.
Yeah, no, like I get
That's
it.
massive.
My main concern is they need to be able to get that ship. They need to they need that. Yeah, for Squadron 42 for it to be success, for Star Citizen to be a continued
Yeah,
success.
yeah.
They need launch Squadron
I,
42, and
I,
I love it. I love the idea of the universe, and
yeah,
when we get a good build, we play it a lot,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then they break something, and you're like, oh
And
man,
you're
I
like,
don't
oh
want to deal with this again.
my god, why is the mining not working now?
Yeah, right. Oh my god, why am I falling through the elevators? I thought they
Again,
fixed this
that's
meshing bug
that's actually
10
probably one of my biggest
5 years
gripes.
ago or something.
Like
And
elevators are my biggest gripes. They're just
yeah, or like when you're sharing an instance, and you bring a ship up, and then like my ship comes up, but your ship's like this through the middle of it, and I'm like, can you see that? You're like, no, your ship's fine. It's like my ship's on fire. Oh god.
yeah, yeah, exactly right.
So yeah, like they've got bugs to fix, right? I
Yeah,
get it. I totally understand that. And I hope it's a success because I really like it. I love the idea of it. I think it could be
I think
like
it.
amazing.
Yeah, I think it'd be
Um,
amazing if it's finished and polished
mhm.
enough, and I'm not falling through an
Yeah,
elevator or walls
uh,
or falling through my ship
yeah, yeah.
or whatever at
Um,
the time.
it's good. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Right. So going back to what we were talking about, independent games and AAA titles and things like that, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes.
are exclusive games for certain machines, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox are obviously your top 3, yeah?
Mm.
Are they actually really important to those manufacturers? Do you think that that drives their machine forward? And
I
and
think.
and and I'm meaning like their own AAA titles and also
Yeah,
the
yeah.
independent
I get
titles
it.
that they actually kind of buy in to keep on their console exclusives, even if it's a timed exclusive for 6 months or a year or something.
Yeah. Um, I think for Nintendo, yes, it is
Hmm.
because Nintendo's ecosystem and hardware architecture is locked down.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
for Sony and Xbox, not so much because they're essentially their x86 architecture, so PC architecture. And I can guarantee any exclusive that is launched is on a pirated site
Hmm.
somewhere, and someone will get it to work on PC. So I think, I mean, if is it going to really drive sales? I don't know if it will. I think if these companies want to drive, like I think it's Xbox, right? If Xbox want to drive hardware sales, make a better device. It's that
Yeah,
simple.
yeah. Hmm.
Because like Sony do not rely. They have, they have exclusives, but they don't rely on it to drive the sales of their device. They just have had a better device for the last 2 generations,
I'd probably agree
and
with that.
that's why people like I moved from Xbox 360 to Sony.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Like literally based on that. This is how you share games on Sony. Oh, it's
yeah.
like, yeah, I'll buy one of them.
Well,
If I'm gonna get a console, I'm gonna get that.
that was because their
Um,
whole DRM system, and
yeah,
when
yeah,
the guy, I can't remember what his name is, Captain something or other, he kind of got phased out because of this. He said it's not like a button that we can push and we can just switch it off. And then literally a week later,
it
they're
is.
like, "Oh,
It
you know
is.
what? We're just going to remove the DRM system because we kind of messed
Yeah,
up and we didn't think
it's
people
just,
would actually
yeah,
care." It's like,
it's a
what?
software module. It can be removed.
Yeah, it's not just that. It was the case of like them saying that if you wanted to share a game with someone, they had to pay £10 to unlock the game,
Well,
and it's
it's
like,
just,
what? No, that's ridiculous.
yeah.
And obviously, we are actually phasing out a lot of like physical media, and we're going for a lot of digital media. But I
Mm.
still think for consoles and things like that, physical media is slightly better. But The problem with physical media nowadays for consoles is that regardless, you have to have an update for the game. And
Yeah.
that's the way that they've gone, and I don't particularly like that. I like the ability to buy a console and then in 10 years time when the console's being phased out to be able to stick that video game in that console and still play it without having any issues. Yeah. But they're not going to have that. We're not going to have that with PlayStation
It's
5.
not.
On PlayStation 4, a lot of the
Yeah.
games are the same.
And unfortunately, that's just the reality of a modern software stack, right?
I
So
think,
you add in you add in new libraries and things like that. So
yeah.
if your old console, if you keep it in that final software state, if you like,
Hmm.
you'll have no issues.
Yeah.
If it has some sort of trauma or whatever, you need to reset it. It's like, yeah, you might struggle to play some things.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's the same on Windows. Um, to a certain extent, it's the same on Linux, but it's much easier to find um, missing content files and things like that in Linux, like in GitHub and stuff like this. And it's easier to rebuild the kernel in Linux and things like
Right.
that as well. So
So,
it still happens,
my
but
my next question, right? So,
yeah,
this is quite an important one, and it's quite an important one for everybody, I think, who is a console player, especially. If you buy a Steam game, the chances are that you'll be able to like just play your Steam games on whatever. It doesn't matter. You can download it, you can play it.
yeah,
Even if the game is taken off the market, you can still download
yeah,
and play that game,
yeah.
right? Now, with the PlayStation 5, yeah, you weren't able to play the PlayStation 3 games, or the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1 games. Yeah, you have to buy a subscription to to their system to play those games that they allow that are available. Yeah, with the
Hmm.
Xbox, they have backwards compatibility. Chuck in the disc and you can still play your 360 games, or most of the 360 games, not all of them, but most of them.
So
Right. My next question is, however, if the PlayStation 6 comes out and the new Xbox, whatever they're going to call it, yeah, comes out, and they say something like all previous games on all those consoles, even if you bought them digitally, they won't work on the PlayStation 6 or the new Xbox. How do you think the public would react to that?
um, well, I think they would see it for what it is, which is just bullshit. It's just money. It is that is just rampant monification
Yeah,
of of you. I mean that is literally viewing your target audience literally as you're not a consumer anymore. You're just an economic unit to
yeah,
be extracted from.
because
And I would say if that was the case, I would just be like, do you know what, guys, buy a Steam box. Take
yeah,
that money you're gonna spend and buy a Steam
because
box.
that was one of the
That's it.
fears about the PlayStation 5
Yeah,
and the Xbox Series,
yeah, yeah,
was that once they bought one of those machines, are they going to be able to play the Xbox One games, and will they
yeah,
be able to play the PlayStation 4 games on their PlayStation 5
yeah.
machine? And obviously, they went, yeah, 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 that's all cool. But every
Hmm.
generation, you find that they kind of try to sneak out of this backwards compatibility system. Yeah.
I mean, I would I understand there are limitations. There'll be licensing limitations, but unless there's an actual hardware limitation, I
Hmm.
just think like, why would you do that?
There should
I mean,
shouldn't be any
okay,
problems.
so even if it was like, this is possible, if you pay like for like okay, so for instance, if you're Sony or Xbox and you're like, as long as you have an active subscription with X, whatever their service is going to be called at that point in time, you will have backwards compatibility. You know, it unlocks a software thing or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, that and that is a bit crap,
Hmm.
but most people are gonna have that subscription, right? So I think that would be fair. I think so. If you, I mean, the unfair thing is if you can't afford the subscription one month and you own that physical thing, then you can't play the game, and you're kind of being punished
Yeah.
even though you've given them money in the past and you just can't give them money at this point in time. So it's difficult. I mean, I get there'll be licensing issues though with certain publishers and blah blah blah, and they'll just be like, we cannot offer this. Fine, don't have an issue with that. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, if it was me, I would, as soon as I heard that, whether it was a rumor or not, I would just make the decision to buy a Steam box or go
Yeah.
PC.
No, no, I
Like,
agree with you. Yeah,
you know,
it's
that's the thing. You kind of, when you've been around this stuff this as long as we have, and you're just kind of like that. If they're willing to do that, like at the launch of a device,
mm-hmm.
you've just got to think like that's all of these things are pre-planned, and then you're just kind of like, okay, so when is the next layer of kind of microtransaction coming in?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Are they going to make me pay for it? Are they going to start like, with YouTube and they're like their BS bitrate limits?
Yeah.
So although they've got all the bandwidth in the world, and most people do now as well at home, like, I've got a gigabit connection, because I don't want to pay for YouTube Premium,
Mm-hmm.
they limit the bitrate they stream to me at, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you're still making money from me from advertising,
Yeah.
and like, WTF? So, and again, and then it comes into that thing of like, where does the microtransaction end? Right?
Yeah.
It's like, where do you stop being a revenue source and become a consumer, like a
So
valued consumer?
that
And if companies are going to do that, that's why I'm just like, screw them. You
so
don't have, they don't have the right to your money.
so I'm going to go
You
a
know?
full circle here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to Bethesda,
Hmm.
and I'm going to say, all this microtransaction BS is because of Bethesda,
Yeah.
because they released the
Yeah.
very first DLC as a horse for
Yeah.
Oblivion.
Yeah.
It's their fault, everybody. It's their fault.
Yeah.
And in saying all that, uh, what, Mr. Commander Haggis, yeah,
Hmm.
of all time is your favorite console that you prefer? What is your favorite?
Oh,
What is your favorite console? What is the one that will always be the one that you'll always like? Oh my goodness, that was just fantastic innovation, all that stuff. Oh, he's speechless. Look
there's
at that.
probably two.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
I think PlayStation,
Uh huh.
the original PlayStation
The
was
original
just like,
PlayStation was.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, I thought, and I still think to this day this machine is like so underrated.
Uh huh.
And the reason that it didn't fail, but it was viewed as a failure, is because it was developers underestimated it.
Okay.
I think for me, like, the GameCube was just
GameCube was
so good.
amazing. GameCube was
I think
fantastic.
I think that I think if that
I
had
thought
been
that you
more
were
of
going
a
to say that. Yeah.
commercial, I thought if that had been more of a commercial success, Nintendo would be very different just now.
I think so as well. The GameCube was absolutely amazing. It was a fantastic
Yeah.
machine. It was probably one of my
Hmm.
favorite machines as well. I think
Best
that,
controller I've ever used.
yeah,
GameCube controller is
actually,
so good.
I have a, Switch controller.
Mm.
I have a controller for my Switch. That's actually the GameCube controller.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
Zelda
very
one.
cool.
So yeah,
Very, very
I,
cool.
I actually purposely bought that one for my Switch. Um, However, I will agree with you on the GameCube and the PlayStation. I totally get you on that. I'm going to be going down two different routes here
Oh
that
God.
I would say, right? The first one, you're going to laugh at me for this, but I'm
Yeah.
going to say the Atari Jaguar.
See, I was thinking that I was going to give that's an honorable mention for me,
It-
because it never really it's a bit obscure. I think if you were really into consoles,
yeah,
you had a Jaguar and you were like, yeah, that's like, that's
yeah,
hard. That's what hardcore gamers were using at the time.
yeah.
Like, Jaguar was good.
The Jaguar was an amazing machine. It had so much potential, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, it kind of failed going out the paddock because
yeah.
all the game developers were like, that's a lot of coding and everything that we've got to actually
Mhm.
do for that because it was way ahead of its time.
I
It
read, I
was,
read the very first Alien versus Predator game, which still
yeah.
stands up.
I have that game. It's such an amazing game.
It's
I love
so
that
good.
game so much. I'd love to actually stream that game just for funsies. I might actually try to set that up. But yeah, that's an amazing game that is. And that was one of the very first games that was classed as one of the hardest games ever, because when you saved it and then you
Mm.
closed the game down and went back to the game, all the enemies appeared again.
Oh, that's right. They were just they
They
just
all
respawned. Yeah.
respawned. They all respawned, and that was one of the hardest things about that game. But I digress. It was double the power of the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it was technically very, very capable. It just didn't have the marketing
it didn't
machine.
have the marketing, didn't have
Yeah.
the people backing it.
Yeah.
And my other one, I think you might agree with me on this, and I know my partner will be like, hell yes, when I say this if she ever watches this. Um, is the 3DS. I think the 3DS is probably one of the best
Uh,
consoles that was ever released, and the 3D on the actual console is nearly flawless. It's
I
brilliant.
mean, I never really got it. I mean, I think for me, when it comes to like handhelds,
Hmm.
it's just like the original Game Boy is just so good.
The Game Boy is
And
brilliant.
then
Yeah,
and then like and now when you're thinking about handhelds, I'm just kind of like Steam Deck. Steam Deck just redefined what was possible, what could be possible in
hmm,
portability, and not just in terms of like you know, uh, gaming experience, but that like such a polished user interface.
yeah,
Um, the machine's incredibly easy to like, it's designed in a way purposely by Valve so that you can replace things. Replacement parts are easy to get hold of.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know how many years down the line, like, it still blows like what are technically better options out the water.
Hmm.
Again, and it comes down to the fact that Valve really care about the user experience to the point where yeah, we'll write our own OS. And I know they like you can criticize them and say it's not, you haven't written that, it's Arch Linux, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, but the amount of effort they've poured into that. So 3DS, I don't know, man. I know a lot of people who would agree with you. Like, I got a friend at work who's big Nintendo fan.
Yeah.
Um,
See,
a PC gamer,
I still
and he
play my
loves his
3DS.
yeah, he loves his 3DS.
Yeah, it's
He
such a great little
absolutely
machine.
loves it. Yeah. I
Whenever
think
I go anywhere, I take the 3DS and I also take my Switch with me.
yeah. So I mean again, handheld Switch is like Switch and Steam Deck for handhelds, like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um well, I don't know. It's into there's so many consoles like to talk about. Like, I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
probably
yeah,
that's probably a whole
yeah.
other
That's a whole other
episode.
episode, totally and utterly.
Like Neo Geo, all these kinds of Sega Dreamcast.
I've got my
Or
Sega Dreamcast sitting there as well,
Sega
so
Dreamcast, man, it was underrated.
again,
Underrated.
one of the best consoles, like the Atari
Yeah,
Jaguar, but it got
yeah,
completely slammed. I don't
yeah.
understand why, because the Dreamcast was an amazing machine. It had frickin' Fantasy Star Online on that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was like that's innovation in itself. Because
mhm.
although the PlayStation 2 had the ability to connect to the internet, the Dreamcast was doing it first,
Yep,
and they had done it well before the PlayStation
yep.
2. And on top
Mhm.
of that, they had a proper full-on MMO game. Yeah,
Yep.
Fantasy Star Online was amazing. In fact,
Um,
I've not actually tried it myself, yeah, but if you go online, you will be able to find servers for Fantasy Star Online that the
oh
Dreamcast
yeah,
can connect to. So
that
you can
that
still
doesn't
actually connect
surprise
it
me.
up. You can still
Yeah.
connect it up.
And then there was like
I
what was
still got
it? Sega
Shin.
Saturn.
Yeah, Sega
Do you
I
remember
don't
the
have one of those.
Saturn?
I need to get a
I don't
Saturn.
have
I
one.
don't have one.
Yeah,
I need to get one.
I'd like to have a Saturn.
It's like I'm kind of
Um,
missing the Sega series, unfortunately, and I had my
mm,
unfortunately I had my Mega Drive stolen from me as well, so
mhm.
that's a bit of a shame. I've got all the Nintendos, yeah, apart
Because
from
what
my
was
Wii U, that was also sadly stolen.
so was were Sega still making hardware? I'm trying to think. Were Sega still making hardware when GameCube came out? I don't know if
Yes,
they
that
were.
the Dreamcast came out after. No, wait a minute. When the GameCube
No,
was
I think
2002, wasn't it? Sorry, my mistake.
yeah,
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
it was.
No,
I
no.
was at uni.
Ga- are you sure? No, no. GameCube came
Yeah,
out
I
before your uni. It
no,
was
it didn't. I
1997.
no, I remember being at university
Where is
and
my?
and
Web browser. I'm gonna
queuing
check. I'm gonna check.
queuing to get into HMV on Princess Street in Edinburgh to pick up my GameCube.
GameCube released. Oh, it was 2002. I was right in the first
Yeah,
instance. I'm completely
but
wrong.
I'm not sure if Sega. I
Nope,
think Sega
Sega
might have.
Sega had finished because it's Sega Dreamcast was their last one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because I'm sure it was Saturn,
I'm pretty sure.
and it was quite short lived, and then it was Dreamcast.
See, that it says here it was released in November 1998, and that's not right. That's the AI over. That's a stupid AI
No,
overview because I know
that
that's not
seems
right.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're shouting. I know that's not. All right. Hi, doggy.
calm down, Phoebe.
Um. So the Dreamcast was released before then, because if you remember, on just after my 18th birthday, I was down in London on Games Republic in 1998,
Yeah,
and I had to play the Dreamcast for the actual show. So
yeah, I'm quite.
it came out before 1999, because I was 18 when I went down for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So I think that's not quite right. So
Uh,
I'm not quite sure where they're getting the information from that one.
why? Yeah, so Sega Saturn Japan launched 1994,
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
and North America and Europe 1995. Um, wow. Dreamcast kicked off.
It says 1998, 1999 there for some reason.
Yeah, Japan 1998. November
I'm
1998.
pretty sure it wasn't like wintertime that I went down for Games Republic, because it was boiling hot when I went down. I thought
But
it
you
was in the
might be
summer.
it might have been 99 you went down. You
Maybe
might be
I don't think it was.
mistaken.
Maybe I'm mistaken.
Maybe you're mistaken, mate. But yeah, that sounds about right for Dreamcast. That because like 98. Because I remember playing one at university.
Hmm.
So it would have been I went to uni end of 1998. Yes, people, I'm old. Um, so that's probably right. Yeah, the timelines are probably right. But that's what I thought. I thought Dreamcast. Yeah, I thought Sega had exited hardware by then, and I
Yeah,
think
they had.
I mean that is literally like the effect of PlayStation
Yeah,
on them. They were kind of like scrabbling. I mean, look at that. Like Saturn released in '94, and then 4 years later, they're like, "Yeah, we need something else, man. We need to try and compete with these guys."
yeah,
Can you imagine that now? That cycle now, every 4 years, here's a new console.
yeah. Right. That,
You're
that
like, what?
But then again, back then your innovation was actually pretty strong. So you
Yeah,
started off with, like, say, the Nintendo, that was an 8-bit machine, and then it went to Super Nintendo, 16-bit machine, and then obviously the
yeah,
GameCube went up again. Well, actually, it would have been the Sony PlayStation, should they say?
yeah,
That was the 32-bit machine, but the Jaguar
yes,
was 64, and
yeah,
people couldn't make for 64-bit. They were just confused until the N64 came out, and that was a 64-bit machine. And then
yes,
Nintendo had already started lining up stuff for that, so it didn't really matter too much. Obviously you had the Saturn, the GameCube, and so on and so on. So your innovation in technology was actually really quick and fast. Whereas for the last 10 years, 15 years, I would say innovation has not been like super fast. Because if you're going to look at video games, and I'm talking, let's go to 360 to begin with. You have the Mass
mm,
Effect game, yeah, that was released in 2007, I think it was.
yeah,
Obviously that came in three different parts, so you got Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. But now, what was it, 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, they re-released Mass Effect as the Mass Effect Legendary Edition,
yes.
upscaled the graphics, things like that, changed bits and pieces here or there, and they just put it into one package. Now,
Mm,
that's only like 4 or 5 years ago that they did that, but that means you're talking like 11 years later, they're rehashing a game because there's no innovation. It's the same as Gears of War. Gears of War came out in 2007, I think, as well, if I remember, on the 360, and they re-released the game again about 2 years ago. In fact, it just came to the PlayStation. Their re-release of the game on the PlayStation earlier this year. So it makes you kind of wonder where the innovation's gone. So if they're not innovating with gaming, they're not innovating with hardware side of things either.
Yeah.
They're trying to, but nobody has the money. So
Mm.
why innovate with gaming as well at the same time? I'm one of these people that gets really excited about new games coming. Yeah, especially ones that I'm really, really interested in. Like, I am excited about the new Mass Effect game if they actually get around to making it. But since EA has their hands on it, the chances are it's going to get completely trashed like it did with Andromeda, and that's going to like hurt me again because I really like the Mass Effect universe. But the guys who made Mass Effect originally are making Exodus. Yeah, they released a book last year. They've released a book today, in fact. They're a new one, and their game's going to be releasing next year. But those are the guys who actually made the original Mass Effect game. Yeah, the developers.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're making Exodus, and that game, I'm super excited for it. People
Hmm.
kind of go, "Oh, Mass Effect 5," and I'm like, Exodus. That's my game of the year. That's going to be amazing. Same as the Expanse video game that's coming. Yeah, I'm like,
I'm looking
I
forward to
can't
that.
wait for that.
I
That's
think
going to
that
be
that could be
amazing.
quite interesting. Yeah.
So those two games I'm really super
Um.
excited for. But that's because it looks like they're trying to get that genre of game style and advance it. They're not just remaking a game. Whereas I think, and I hope I'm really wrong, I really hope I'm wrong, that Mass Effect 5 is just going to be this is Mass Effect game and we haven't put anything new in it. Just like what they did with Dragon Age, the last one, whatever the frack it's called. I can't even remember what it's called now.
I
Um,
know what you're talking about.
because Inquisition was an
It's
amazing
very good.
game, and it,
Very
it
good.
followed on from how great Origins was. Dragon
Yeah.
Age 2 was bag of
Um.
rubbish. It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Inquisition was great. The latest one, which I can't remember the title of, was just a bit rubbish. It was boring. I just found I don't really care for the characters. I don't really care for the storyline. I don't really care for it. I just thought it was good. Like they went, "This is a new Dragon Age game, like it," and I was like, "I'm not really. I've still not completed it. I love Dragon Age. I have all the books. I have all the books for Mass Effect as well. And even Mass Effect Andromeda, how much of a waste of space that game kind of actually is, I would still go through and try to play it again, although it was a struggle. It took me 90 hours to complete that game in full, just because I wanted to find everything. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I never really got. Like, yeah, Mass Effect. It didn't really grab me at the start, and I'm glad now, because I'm like, yeah, I hate getting to the end of something and being like disappointed.
I was disappointed with the ending of Mass Effect 3. It was absolutely horrendous. And then of all the controversy because of it, they tried to rehash it and tried to rebuild it, and I'm like, none of you who actually built Mass Effect 3 or wrote for Mass Effect 3 literally read anything in any of the books, did you? Or you
Hmm.
did not pay attention to what the original storyline is. Like one of the major, I don't mean to go rant on about this, but it's one of the things that really
But you will.
frickin' narcs me off. It really narcs me off. In the first game, they literally state that the Mass Effect relays, nobody knows how to create them, and they've got
Yeah.
these things called the keepers on them. If you play the game, you know what they are. And they look after them and make sure that they work. But nobody knows how to make them. Nobody knows how they work. Nobody knows anything about them at all. But at the end of Mass Effect 3, a bunch of them get blown up. I'm not going to try to destroy the storyline. I'll just say a bunch of them get blown up, and then somehow everybody knows how to build them again.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we need. Yeah, we'll just say they can do this because we want to move the franchise on. It's like,
It's
you know,
dumb. It's just dumb.
yeah, but like these, it's just IP,
Or
right? Like,
or the other one. I'm sorry. I'm going to like slam this one. There's a bit in
God.
Mass Effect 2, I think it is, with the character called Grunt, and you're going to be taking down a Thresher Maw. Yeah, it's like his rite of passage. It's like a big worm in
Hmm.
the ground.
Okay. Yeah.
So you kill it. Yeah. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, nobody's seen anybody take down a Thresher Maw like that before." It's like Mass Effect 1. I must have taken about 20 of them down on foot. It's like I did it all the time, mate. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, but again, I think it's kind of like, again, I can't really relate to this 'cause, like, game IP, I'm not really, I don't know. I was
It's
about to say I'm not bothered about, but I am bothered about some things. But I get it
it's
for,
canon stuff that really annoys me.
yeah, but like it's canon until it's not, right? It's canon
Yeah, it's
until,
true.
and then it comes down to, I mean, it was like me and Marvel, right?
Oh yeah,
That's why
okay.
I'm just not that bothered about Marvel,
Yeah.
because to me, it's not Marvel. Like the MCU is not Marvel to me,
Mhm.
because I'm like, that's not what happens in the comics.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I can appreciate it for what it is. I'm just like, but if someone says to me, "Oh, like, oh, I watched Captain America," it's like, that is not Captain America. That is not what happens. But like, so yeah, so I get it. It's canon until it's not. It's kind of what's happening in Disney at the moment with Star Wars, and it just looks like they're going to go on a massive kind of retcon event. And again, just because they need to move stories on, there's a new generation of consumer and all these other things. Does it really bother me that much? Not really, because I'll just watch the original films. I love them. Like, I I think that's kind of where I got to now. Like, because I used to get really pissed off with Games Workshop, and the way they would change things all the time. And then I was like, do you know what? They're just a business, right? And the main part of their business isn't someone like me who has been doing this for a very long time, like 30 plus years, right?
Mhm.
To the point where, like, the only thing I buy from them is like, if they release a new edition of Horus Heresy or something, I'll buy that box set. I'll buy the books. Um, I might buy some models, but there's so many good third party things out there now, you can buy them. Like, I don't even buy paint from them. So I'm like, yeah, I'm really not your target audience, am I? Your
Mhm.
target audience is that person at the start of their journey who wants the new
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and so I get it, right? I get it. Does it annoy me? Yeah, it annoys me. Like, especially when they break rules that actually worked and they make the game more complicated. Um, I think that's, you just got to accept it, and
Well,
also accept it in the way where you're like, I don't have to play that. They're not forcing me to spend my money, or any of this stuff. Um,
as long as we
but
both
it's
agree,
difficult.
as long as we both agree that Crimson Fists are still a chapter of their own and nothing to do with any of the other fists.
The Crimson Fists. Do you mean those, like,
Don't.
those Imperial Fist losers that
No,
that
no, they're
cast
not
off
Imperial Fists at all. They
that
are
cast
literally
off?
their own chapter. They were their own chapter
No,
before Imperial Fists even
they're
existed.
they're their own chapter, but
No,
they're
no,
they're not
no,
one
no.
of the
They,
founding
no, no, no.
legions.
They weren't.
So
They were one of the first
they're not.
thousand founding legions. I have a book that says so.
There's 20. See,
No,
this is the thing though.
20.
Like, there's 20 founding legions,
A
right?
thousand.
And two of them disappeared because they were really bad Primarchs. But again, this depends on your point of entry into the story.
Well,
And in
my point of
10 years'
entry was Rogue
time,
Trader, so
no, no, exactly. But that's what I mean, because I know what you're talking about, because I have Rogue Trader. But in 10 years'
you're
time,
old.
the thing that I'm talking about, which is kind of like the the sort of the story as is currently, the kind of expanded heresy universe, which is probably going to get deprecated now because Forge World aren't running it, right? So
That's right. They
it's
are they?
transferred from Forge World to GW,
Hmm.
and to the point where it looks like the release cadence is going to be an edition every 3 years. Wow, this is really off topic from where we started. Yeah.
It's all about gaming.
So to my point, it depends where you've entered that universe, right? In 10 years' time, 20 years' time, I'm pretty sure, like, the kind of however many books, the 50, 60 Black Library books that
Yeah,
kind of tell that big story at the moment, they'll change. Like, stuff in that's going to
yeah.
change.
They changed it quite
Um,
often anyway over the last
and I quite,
40 years.
yeah, and I'm quite interested in what's happening with the, pardon me, 11th edition of Warhammer, like of 40K, where it looks like the Emperor might be coming back, or there might be change, and
Oh,
it's pretty cool. Like, because that
yeah. I'm so
no, but
excited.
that would make me buy that and want to play that system
That
again, right?
I've been wanting this for like
Yeah,
20 odd
yeah,
years. I've been like,
yeah.
when's the Emperor gonna do something cool? Because he just hasn't been doing anything cool. He's just been sitting on his golden throne, and it's been
Well,
like the same
he's
story over and
he's
over
been
again. I
he's
like
been
progression.
shielding. He's been shielding humanity
shielding
for
humanity.
10 millennia.
But if he's disappeared, that means nobody can actually traverse the warp. That's great. That's amusing to me.
Well,
Technically, they won't be able to traverse the warp because he's literally controlling it all for the humans.
no.
Yeah, well, yeah,
No,
that's
I
that.
mean, I think
Yeah.
he kind of he took. I think he gets a lot of kind of credit for where it's not due. I mean, really, if it wasn't
Oh,
for the Eldar,
don't
I
tell
can't
that
believe
to
I'm
the
going
God
to say this.
Emperor.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Eldar and the Webway, I think he might have been struggling with transversing that space, understanding that
Wait a minute,
space.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Did I just hear you right saying that you're giving
No, no,
kudos
no,
to the Eldar?
it's
That's the
true,
first time I've ever heard you say something like that.
but it's true because the Eldar were the first
Are
weak race that
are
fell to chaos.
are
So
you are you
you know,
giving the Eldar
yes,
like
I am. I am.
wow, the
I
space
am.
elves? You're actually saying the space elves did something good.
Not as good as the orcs, but yeah, something good. Yeah,
Well, they just grow on every planet and take over everything. So
exactly. It's great. I love orcs. Yeah. So I think getting back to that kind of IP point in
yeah,
general is yeah, where you enter the storyline really matters, and I suppose that's what's important, right? You don't have to like everything that's come before, you don't have to like everything that's come after. Like that point in time,
I
you're
th-
always gonna love it, right? That I think
I
that's the thing you should care about more than
so
anything else.
I would agree with you, but when you're actually doing a sequel to a video game, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's more difficult because if you screw up a storyline that's like
Mm,
only 2 or 3 years old anyway, you've
yeah.
kind of lost a part of your audience. So again, this leads down one of the things that annoyed a lot of people in the Mass Effect universe. So in the Mass Effect universe, they created guns that you put a wee little metal block into, and when you fired it, the gun would shear off a part of that metal block, turn it into like a sheared bullet, and it would like kill something. That was kinetic energy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the type of thing that they built. So they decided in the books that that was like great technology, blah blah blah. In the first game, that was great technology. That's how everything worked. And then in the
Hmm.
second game, they retconned it completely
Yeah.
because in the first game you got like heat sinks that you added to your weapons, you got like different mods to your weapons, different mods to your
Yeah.
armor and stuff. In the second game they decided that all guns used heat sinks, yeah,
Yeah.
regardless. And so that ended up basically being a clip in the gun
Mhm.
for gameplay wise. So the
Yeah.
clip ejected, threw it on the ground, you put in a new clip, a new heatsink clip. It was the
Yeah.
same style of shooting the guns and everything, but they kind
Yeah.
of took away your mod system. However,
Yeah.
one of the missions that you play, you go down to onto a planet that has 10-year-old technology,
Hmm.
but there's heat sinks all over the place lying around that you can pick up and use in the gameplay, which was just
Yeah.
dumb. But for story wise, that's a completely dumb thing to do because they didn't have that technology.
I'm that sounds more like you have an issue with the game mechanic than
Is it,
than
yeah,
like
I do. I have a
the
massive
fact
issue with that game mechanic there.
the fact that game mechanic change doesn't really change the intent of the story.
Oh no, they changed the
I mean,
storyline as well because they actually put into
I
the
don't
actual
know.
storyline for
Yeah,
the actual information lines and things like that
yeah,
about how it all works.
yeah,
And then they also put in saying that, if you go to like, certain places, they don't have that technology. But yet you
yeah,
go to somewhere that doesn't have that technology, but yet you can pick it up and use it.
yeah. Because if you don't, you're
The,
just gonna die.
yeah, the
I
game
imagine.
mechanics don't work.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Like
it's
again,
laziness. It's laziness.
you know what I'm gonna say to you,
What's that?
Marvel.
Tough.
Like now you know how I feel, man. And I've just learned to just like let it wash over me.
But at
Just
least Marvel did it over 30 years.
yeah, but Terra, it's just not right.
It's
You know,
just not, it's
it's just
just
not
not
right. It's
right.
not story. It's like it hurts me. Um,
Good.
not as much as it used to. It used to
Yeah,
really,
I
as you know,
remember you having a
it
lot
used
of
to really
rants about it.
me. Just be like, what is this? But yeah,
Okay,
so I think you just have to kind of like, and ultimately, I suppose at the end of the day, just don't play the game.
and I'm going to
You know,
replay it. I was actually going to record it
so
and play it again.
you just sound like a
And then I'm
masochist
going to
now.
complain throughout the whole thing.
Oh my god, and you're just gonna whinge. I'm trying to be a bit more kind of like
Positive?
no, not positive. Just like it's okay for something to annoy you, but you don't have to let that kind of own you, if you know what I mean. You just get over it. It doesn't matter. Like it's not
Yes.
the end of the world,
No,
kind of thing.
it doesn't really bother me
Um,
too much. It just annoys me that, like,
yeah,
companies or writers, they just don't give a crap when they're doing these things, and they try
and
to retcon something that they can't
yeah,
retcon, because when they try to
like
retcon something, they kind of screw it up quite a lot, and you're just thinking to yourself,
but
what just happened there? Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to the consumer. You've just paid, for example, a video game. You might have just paid 50 quid for a game that you played through and like, what the hell was that crap about?
yeah,
Yeah, and you know, it makes you wonder why video game companies, going back to the AAA titles and the companies who make them, think that they can get away with doing that.
but yes, they can because they continue to do this,
Oh,
and people continue to
sorry,
give them
you
money.
you bought Skull and Bones, didn't you? You bought that game and you thought it was a quadruple A
Uh,
game. You were
did
like,
I?
oh yeah,
I'll
pirates
tell
are
you right
for the
now.
win. Don't tell me that
I'll
you
tell you
bought
now.
it. I didn't buy it. I got a free copy of it, but I didn't buy it. Oh, here we go.
No, I didn't buy it.
Oh, that's okay then. I would have been very upset if you had
Uh,
bought it.
no, I didn't. I think I saw through that pretty quickly. Um,
Okay,
no, I just think like it happened. Right, it's gonna continue. It's as long as as long as there's a route to revenue, it will continue to happen. It's that simple because at the end of the day, there's always a new consumer coming in. It's like the whole thing with like GW, like I was talking about. It's like you get to a certain stage, and it's like you are not the target. Like for Black Ops or whatever, we are not Call of Duty. You know, we're not the target audience anymore.
no. I was never a
You
target
know,
audience for those
you
games.
know, 20 years ago, we would have been in the demographic for the target audience, right? You'd have been like,
Maybe you were.
these are the guys. No, just age wise, like you're a guy, you're in your
Yeah,
mid 20s, you have this device.
I was
Um,
younger, obviously.
you might buy, yeah, you're by like 2 months. Um, um, you might buy that game. So you would probably get like if social media existed then, you would have been targeted
You
with
do
advertising, right?
you do
That's right.
realize that I'm just holding up to the podcast name, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'm just
I'm
making
I'm
sure
I'm
that, yeah,
I'm
we're
sitting
allowed
it.
to
I'm trying
complain.
to. I'm being devil's advocate, like you were when I was whinging about hardware and stuff like
I know
that, and
it's
it's like
great.
Windows
That
is crap and
for
blah blah blah.
we're gonna have a great time over these next episodes of just whinging about crap
Yes.
constantly.
Um, I think, to be honest, that's probably a good place to stop. I think we've talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I
For
think for
for
the
for our first
next
episode.
episode we'll go into things like maybe films, TVs, books, self-hosting, things like that, and
Yeah.
maybe talk about things like that. And we'll definitely always come back to the video games.
Oh yeah.
Um, but maybe next time we'll talk about tabletop or board games and things like that as well for our next episode. I think that'll be
Oh, I have
a
so
good
many
choice.
complaints about that.
So many board games, so many tabletop games.
Yeah.
Um, like I love playing them. I love playing all those type of things. I'm not just a video gamer. Same with yourself. We are definitely gamers across the board. You know, if someone
Yes.
gave me like a Steve Jackson, um, play your own RPG game, I would sit there and play that happily on the couch in bed, whatever. Like, I love those type of games as well. Plus,
Mhm.
they are getting really popular again. You know, they have
Yes,
box
the
sets
books
on
are
Amazon
the
and things
books are
like that.
coming back out. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they're
So I
they're
always
really good.
recommend things like that. But I think that'll be next week's episode. We'll talk about things like that.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah, I kind of like. I don't know how long we've talked for, but I think there's only so much. There's a limit
Um,
to what whoever is going to listen to this is going to listen to.
well, they can listen to it in parts. It's all good.
That's very true, actually. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
episode 1 coming in 20 parts.
Jesus. Well, the first episode's always got to be the longest, although I have a
Yeah,
funny feeling it might not be the longest. So
yeah,
it's the longest at the moment since it's the first episode, right?
that is true. That
Yeah.
is true. Wait
Okay.
until I start talking about self-hosting.
Yeah, I'll just sit there and I'll just switch off my video screen. You can just carry on. Well, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next time. And I will put on our nice little outro. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.